morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Harvey, and I'm an Enrollment Management Associate here at Albert College in Belleville, Ontario. Albert College is a small independent school. We have a day program and boarding program for students from pre-kindergarten all the way up to their graduating year in grade 12. We are a small family school of about 300 students spread across 25 acres of campus, just a few blocks up from beautiful Lake Ontario in Belleville. So it's a pretty special spot. At Albert College, we focus on the 5 A's. So those are sort of central to our whole school from when kids are little all the way until they graduate. Those are arts, adventure, active citizenship, athletics, and academics. And our students are encouraged to actively participate in all 5 of those A's throughout their time with us here, with our goal being that they've had tons of exposure and opportunity to become really balanced, well-rounded students, and try all 5 A's from a really safe space at our small school. So over the next 60 minutes, I'm going to be asking some special panelists a variety of questions that we hope will provide a thorough and thoughtful overview of our school. So I'm going to introduce our panelists. We have Faith Saar, who is an alumna of Albert College, class of 2019. We have current parent Marasia Duffus, who's mother to Dante in grade 11, and another current parent, Melanie Barrett, who is another current parent of Ella in grade 3 and Noah in grade 2. So I'm going to get started with Faith, and Faith's going to answer some questions from her perspective as a former student and graduate of Albert College. So Faith, can you tell us a little bit about what you appreciated most during your time at Albert College, and has your perspective changed in any way since you've left the school?
Yeah, so I think the thing I most appreciated was like being able to participate in all the different kinds of activities, like you were mentioning the 5 A's. So even though I'm like not the greatest athlete or not like the best singer, I was able to participate in arts and athletics, and active citizenship really became the one area that I really enjoyed and thrived in. And so like later I became the active citizenship prefect. And like now I study international development studies, which is very much related to that kind of work. And so starting that in high school like really led me to where I am today. So I think looking back on that, it was really nice to not have to choose between those different activities. I've met a lot of people who had to choose whether they wanted to play an instrument or play a sport, and I'm very lucky that I didn't have to do that. And I can relate to more people because I have experience in a variety of different areas.
Thanks, Faith. What, to the best of your knowledge, most differentiates Albert College from other schools?
I think it's definitely the 5 A's, like having a specific system where they're tracking things like that and making sure like everyone has specific time slots where they're participating in those different activities, and like making sure that you have opportunities to like excel in those areas or just like participate casually. So I think like the system itself really is unique to Albert. And then like just being a small school, it's also really nice to like get to know your teachers really well and see them. Like one of my favorite teachers, Mr. Mills, he was the music teacher, my soccer coach, my advisor. I was in band with him. He did the audio visual stuff with which I helped run. So it's like I saw him in multiple different areas. So like building relationships with faculty that you get to know super well, like even the staff, like I know Melanie from the office as well. So like building relationships in a smaller environment, I think is unique to Albert.
Thank you. Okay, this is kind of a different question. If the school were to be represented as a single person, what would its personality be? If you could sum that up in 3 words, how would you describe it?
Yeah, this is a harder one. I think my first one would be either like productive or focused. So like there's always something going on at the school. There's always like some event or goal that you're working towards. So like there's always something going on that you can be participating in. So whether it's like a concert or a sports game, there's always something. I think another one would be extroverted, maybe. As a small school, you get to interact with a lot of people. So, like, you're always saying hi to people in the halls, having like small chats as you're walking to class, or like bumping into people during your spare. And yeah, just knowing a lot of people and always like having like social interaction like that. And then I think caring would be a good one. I think the students are always looking for ways to like improve the school and then also like improve the community. Like you even see it in the junior school when they're so excited to do like garbage pickups on Earth Day. They're so excited to like go out and experience nature and just like learn ways to like better their communities. So I think it starts even in the junior school. Yeah, so productive, extroverted, and caring would be my 3.
Thanks, Faith. And today actually is Earth Day, so all the junior school kids have been assigned a different area to clean up. So that was on point. That answer. Thanks. What is one thing you would change about the school for the better if you had to choose something?
I think it would be like more collaboration between the student government. So we use the prefect system and like the staff. So like our governing board and like the head of school. And I would like to see more collaboration between the students themselves and the people who are creating like the programming for them to give students like more ownership over what the school does, because they always have ideas about how to improve the school. And I think working with students would be a good way to do that. They already do that in a lot of ways, but I think even more they would appreciate that.
Thank you. What would families find most surprising about the school? So what do you think would surprise them once they got to know Albert?
Yeah, I think knowing that your kid is like working in a whole bunch of different areas, so all of the 5 A's, it can seem like they won't succeed in all of them and that they might struggle or like not like their academics might suffer because they have to do all of these other things. But I think what would be surprising is that how much you can succeed in all of those different areas and actually like thrive because you're participating in all of those things. There are always like supports available and like it just builds your organization and time management to be able to do it. But you can actually like be quite successful in a lot of those different areas, even though you're still participating in the other 4 A's as well.
Thank you. Last question for Faith. What advice would you give students just entering the school?
I think my advice would be just to try everything. It's very unique to be able to do all of those different areas so consistently and not have it take away from any of the other areas. So once you leave high school and you're like in university or doing your gap year, like you don't have those opportunities just handed to you like you do at Albert, and you have to like manage those yourself. And oftentimes they conflict with each other, so you might have to choose. So just try everything. More often than not, you'll actually end up enjoying it. There's no harm in trying. And then like it's only going to add to your life to have more experience in a variety of areas.
Thanks, Faith. Do you feel like you said everything you wanted? Was there anything else you wanted to add or any final kind of comments?
No, I think that was it.
Okay. I'm going to turn our attention now to Marasia, again, who's Dante's mom in grade 11, and then Melanie, who is Ella and Noah's mom in grade 3 and 2. So I'll just have you both you can both answer the questions one after each other, add on to each other if you feel. So the first question I have as current parents is, why did you choose the school originally for your children? And in which ways is the school what you expected? And in which ways is it not what you expected?
So you want me to start? Okay. I chose Albert as an actual practical thing. When we moved to Belleville, we were in another school in the public board for 2 years. And while everything was there were definitely some issues with respect to a bit of a parental disengagement that I found that wasn't really meeting what I had expected, because I never expected to bump into a place like Albert. And living in Belleville, sort of a time came where I just said, there's something that needs to change and something I'm looking for more for my son. And I was driving along the road and there was Albert, like this beacon on the hill. Seriously, this beautiful place, like looked like sanctuary to a certain degree, because there's such a beautiful space. And I literally veered off the road and thought, what's this? Saw the sign. And I was really pleased to be able to go in there and so warmly welcomed. That surprised me. And now I say that, and it shouldn't, but it surprised me because it's not someplace that I ever thought that I would decide that I was going to try this, but I was sort of at my wit's end a little bit and went in, and that surprised me, that it was so gracious, so welcoming. It was calm. And I really, for myself, thought this is a place I would love for my son to be able to attend. And that was grade 1. So we'd had 2 years of junior kindergarten and kindergarten. And then when I went in, I thought, oh, definitely, we couldn't possibly be able to afford this, going to say that. And when the staff sat me down, took me through, they were caring and friendly and open and welcoming, and then provided me with opportunities to be able to take a look at what it is that I looked at, what I valued about education, and what Faith said about the 5 A's really resonated. You didn't have to choose what happened. The programs were there for them to participate in, and in fact expected. And I love the high expectation. And then I realized, as I looked at the bottom line, that, you know what? I value this, and I'm going to financially deal with what it takes to do this. And the staff helped me to be able to figure that out. So that's how we're able to participate in something I never thought that I would ever be able to provide for my son as a single parent.
Thank you. Melanie, do you have some thoughts on that? Why you chose Albert for Ella and Noah?
Yeah, absolutely. As Marasia said, I kind of second a lot of your points. Just looking for that something more, wanting that extra attention, that extra, just that little bit more that we weren't kind of getting. So yeah, the school was what I was expecting, but also what I wasn't expecting, as Marasia said, was the sense of community and the feeling of being welcomed, and just the caring staff and the enrollment team, and answering all kinds of questions, and being able to come in and see the space and meet the teachers and ask your questions. And we, even when we first started in kindergarten, we were able to bring the kids in, and have the kids see the classroom and meet the teacher and some of the other kids in the class too. And I think we hung out for an hour or two just in the classroom space, and they got a really good sense of what it would be like if they were to join the school. And that was really refreshing too, just to kind of have that opportunity and that openness. And when the first day of school came around, it wasn't quite as intimidating for our kids either, because they knew what to expect. They'd already met their teacher. They knew where they were going. They were excited and ready to go. So the first day of school wasn't quite as tough, which was really great.
Could I just add one little thing to what Mel said? That's spend a day. You spent an hour. I dropped him off for a day. No, honestly, I couldn't believe that you could just drop a child off for the school day and they welcomed him. And when he did start so long ago, he just skipped into the school as if he belonged there. And the invitation that the teacher sent out for, once he was enrolled, they sent, a note to say they were happy for him to come in September. And as a parent, that just made me feel so amazed that I could just drop him off in this beautiful space. And the rest of that I would leave to the professionals. And that's what I like, the notion of trust that I felt from the get-go.
Absolutely.
And I had to have it.
It's almost like a peace of mind that you have too.
Absolutely.
You don't have to worry, which is so nice.
Yes. So that's what I value the most about the start, and how that changed my mind completely about it coming to a private school that I'd never envisioned ever.
Thank you both. What is the biggest impact you think the school has had on your children? Whoever wants to.
Okay. I think that it has allowed him to explore all the different parts of himself. And again, I'm going to return to what Faith said. I hear what she's saying, and that's exactly what I've seen from my son. And it's allowed me to be a little bit more hands-off and trying to do, and there's still extracurricular things, hockey, skating, that kind of thing. But all of that is incorporated into the school. I don't know, there's some vortex in Albert College that allows you to expand time. It's like, Hermione's time turner. I can't believe they get so much done in a day and in a year, that I think that he has grown. And especially the arts program. I couldn't believe how that was. He was discovered, like the music teacher discovered that he had a voice, and not just a speaking voice, that he had a voice from all the way from grade 1, because of participating in school plays and participating in the singing and the Christmas and all of those things that are provided, that you start to see that there were other parts of him that were not being explored, or, that being addressed, that just happens on a regular basis through the day. And I'm surprised 3 months later, I go in and go, is that my son? I had no idea, because there wasn't always a lot of stuff happening. They came home, he was happy, he did his homework, that kind of thing. But there was so much else going on behind the scene. I don't know how it got done, but I was just so excited. And especially the arts program, I thought he really thrives there, but that he's certainly exploring that aspect of himself a whole lot more. And it's continued all the way through.
That's lovely.
I think the biggest impact this school has had on my children. So we started in kindergarten, and now my daughter's in grade 3. And she, when we first started, was very shy and quiet and timid and scared. She wouldn't hardly ever say a word. Was always just kind of absorbing everything around her and never really kind of opening up and putting herself out there. Very, very shy and quiet. And the biggest impact the school has had on my daughter is kind of bringing her out of that shell, slowly and gently and kindly and supportively. But she has really blossomed just in a very short amount of time, to discovering her voice and being encouraged to share her ideas, and not to kind of sit quietly, that she has the courage now, and she has that support and that encouragement to speak up and be a part of the conversation. And I remember a couple of years ago, there was a performance at the junior school, and it was like a play where all the classes sang songs and they had beautiful little costumes on. It was so cute. And she was up there on the stage singing a song, and they had a little bit of a dance routine that went with it. And she was so confident and proud and singing at the top of her lungs. And it was just this amazing kind of thing to see how far she's come. And I don't think that would have happened had she been in another environment. She was just really supported and encouraged, and the teachers really took the time to talk to her about those kinds of things too, and to help her with those things, and just that reinforcement and encouragement and that safe space too, I think was really important. My son also started in kindergarten, and he is now in grade 2. And the biggest impact the school's had on him is, I think, helping him with his academics. I think he's been a little bit of I think many kids are kind of slow to kind of start into the academic world. Some kids pick up on things really quickly, and other kids, it just takes them a little bit more time. So he has been one of those kids that just needs that little bit more time. And again, he's been given every resource and support, and the time and commitment of the teachers and the faculty, to even just recognize that he needs extra time in certain spaces, and to provide that communication to the parents too, to be open and really know your child and where they are personally and academically and socially, and to just provide that support to the kids and the parents. It's been really great.
Thank you both. I feel like I'm getting emotional. Thank you. Okay, what do your children have to say about school? So what do they say when they come home, and how do they feel, do you think, about Albert College?
Mel, is that okay if I jump in there?
Absolutely.
Dante, as I said, has been in Albert since grade 1, and we went away for 2 years to have an international experience. An opportunity came up, and we took it and went away from Albert for 2 years. And it was like when we got back, again, we had an opportunity to not come back to Albert because it was pandemic, a lot of things had happened. And if we chose not to, right, we could. But when we came home, it's like he was just dying to get back to Albert. It was home to him. And seeing all the things that had happened during the pandemic even made that more important for me. The school, from what I was seeing, because I keep track of Albert, I go online in the 2 years and see, what's going on, how they handled the transition into the pandemic, how they prepared their students, that you still saw that they were happy. All the kids have suffered in a way where they were not meeting their friends. And it even made it more important for me to, as soon as I was able to call advancement and say, I want a position for him in grade 11, we're coming back home. I was not seeing anything else to the caliber and the high levels in which a school was taking all the needs of the children into consideration. And especially when they're going into the high school and the senior school. He transitioned back so easily. I mean, it was a little bit because of, just kids are come and gone and whatnot, but you could just see the tightness was gone. He was breathing again. He is now participating. He's happy. And that for me is home. He's home, and he doesn't have to say it, but he's always, I could feel the change in him. And that was really, really important, especially now that this pandemic is still happening and so forth. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy we're back. I'm so happy we're back into Albert, because I just feel now this is where he can end his high school career, where he began it, really, in a way that says, I really value the fact that these folks in Albert, the teachers, are caring. They want me to succeed. And they just embraced him back in as if he had never gone. It thrills me.
Yeah, that feeling of home is definitely important for a parent, I think. And I think the peace of mind, as I mentioned before, for a parent, kind of when you drop your kids off at school, to know they're safe and they're cared for, and that's really important. But I think when my kids come home from school at the end of the day, you ask them how their day was, and you get little bits and pieces of things along the way, but it's always good stories about friends on the playground, and we did this project in class today, and I'm excited about, you know, X, Y, and Z that's happening tomorrow or Friday or next week. They're always excited and engaged and looking forward to going to school the next day as well. You know, it's never a struggle to get them up and out the door in the morning, and off to school. There's never oh, I don't want to go to school today. I don't
Mhm.
I don't like school. I don't want to go to. It's never anything like that. They're always ready for school, excited for
Yeah.
school. They want to see their friends and their teachers, and that's really, as a parent too, that's really a great feeling to not have that struggle or that fight in the morning. And that's a true testament to the school and the staff and the space, even about that great environment that they're creating for these kids, for sure.
Yeah. I just want to add one little thing, just what Mel said. You know, there's something really wonderful about dropping your child off in a place that is in fact quite beautiful, and that the inside of it and the people who inhabit it, they're beautiful too. And I think that is probably one of the biggest things, a strength that I find for me as a parent that really resonates, is it is as beautiful outside as it is inside, as a building and as an institution that we kind of think. But I really agree, Mel, 1,000%. It's a beautiful space and a beautiful place to be. And the kids there, the students, they just care about each other. I mean, they're students, things happen, right? But they work it out. They work it out, and they are encouraged to support each other. And just going to camp, for example, going to camp the first as school starts, that lays such an amazing foundation of them being able to negotiate changes and how they are with respect to each other and care about each other and participate and want to be a part of the governance, so that the school could go from strength to strength to strength. And I really appreciate that they get an opportunity to do that.
Thanks to you both. I think you really highlighted how special the school is. Even as an employee, I still, it's not lost on me every morning getting to drive in to the school, and my son's actually here in junior kindergarten as well. But what you're saying really resonates with me. I think it's so, to feel so proud and lucky and to start your day that way every morning. It sets such an amazing, lucky tone for your day and your kids' day. So I'm glad you both expressed that, because I feel the same. And I think all of our staff do too. And when you have a group of people all arriving at a place that feel proud and lucky to be there every morning, it's a pretty, the vibe, you can feel it, that everyone's excited to be here. So I think that's unique. Okay, so again, with this sort of obscure question for our current parents, if the school were to be represented as a single person, what do you think its personality might be? And if you could try to sum that up in 3 words, please.
I think that Albert is, if it were an entity, would be a visionary. You know what they say, without a vision, the people perish. And Albert has very strong vision. And I see that from a perspective of the governing body of the school, the staff, everybody, including the students, share in a vision. And I think as time goes on, certainly input needs to happen and everything changes, but that they have a strong plan that they let parents see, participate, they have served. I feel that the school is a visionary, and so therefore good leadership comes from that, right? There's a sense that someone creates a place of belonging, and I think that that's something that's quite good. And inclusiveness, not just about, you know, different people, but an inclusiveness of spirit, that whoever is here, regardless of what your skill sets, there's an openness and expectation, very high expectations, which is what I value also. But in that high expectation, you can't hide. As Faye said, may not have been the best on the sport field, but everyone has to try it. And then you're not sort of in a crowd of 40 people. You have an opportunity to grow and to get confidence in doing something, and then be able to say, you know what, I can do this. I didn't realize that, and be given the opportunity to do that. So that those are the things that I think would encompass if there were if that was what I could call, I don't know, a person. This school, and we're a person.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is tricky. I think if the school were represented as a single person, its personality would be outgoing. I think there's a lot of things happening at the school, from pre-kindergarten right through to grade 12, that keep the kids engaged and active. And so I think outgoing would be would be one word. Kind and loving would kind of be a second personality trait. It is such a community school. And then I think the third one would be positive. You know, especially during the pandemic, it wasn't easy for a lot of people. But we stuck together as a community and as a group and supported each other, I think, through that. And even in the negative times, there was always a silver lining. And again, the just the support to be able to lean on each other, whether it was from parent to parent or student to student. You know, having younger children, my kids in grade 2 and grade 3 at age 7 and 9 can't really pick up the phone and talk to their friends over the phone. They don't know what to talk about. So they would get out their iPads and they would have little play dates with their friends where they could play a game together and just kind of chit chat and connect friend to friend. And it was such a great escape for them during that difficult time. And having the connection with other parents to be able to set something like that up for our kids, it was a lifesaver for sure. And it was great to have.
Thank you. My next question, how would you describe the values of the school and the values of the families in the school community?
I think the values are much less about the value of what anyone has and the value of kindness and trust and honesty and being able to not only stay together as a school community, but also be outward looking at what's going on outside. So for example, the situation with the Ukraine, how the school has come together to support you know, the family that's coming from Ukraine, how the students get together to make sure that they clean up the community on Earth Day. They participate in diversity and inclusion aspects of society, that they champion each other and they champion the community internationally and otherwise. Because I see my son, how he's connected to other students that have come and gone, friends that were there, have graduated, they're still online together. And so I think that, yeah, trust, kindness, honesty, and a great deal of respect underpins all of that, regardless of who you are as a parent, regardless of what you do or don't do. There's no judgments about anything. You would not know in this community of students, because any difference is because they have connected on a level that is about humanness, human kindness, as it were, milk of human kindness. I don't want to talk in cliches, but really, they really are fundamentally together. And Albert College students, they value being a part of this Albert College community. And I like to see that from a perspective of a parent.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Marasia. And having younger children, the school has these 5 core values as part of its mission and its vision. And with children at the junior school who are only age 7 and 9, it amazes me that my kids know what these core values are. And they're pretty big words for small children: inclusivity and compassion, individuality. And they know what what those words mean, because they talk about it with their teachers and their peers, and they really embody those values, and it's important. And also values of the families in the school community. I think we all support each other and encourage our kids, but each other's kids.
Yes.
And I think that's really important too. And having that, again, just community feeling that you can reach out to another parent if you need to, and building those relationships, not just between children, but between the parents, to have that support every day, or when you need it most. So yeah, that's what I would say about values for the school. Oh, we can't hear you, Sarah. Nope, still can't. We lost your video there for a little bit too. That's okay. I think we have, that was our last question. I think that was our last question.
Yeah, I think that was.
Oh, there we go. We can hear you.
Internet there. Well, that was our last question. But if anyone had anything that they want to add, or anything that kind of was spurred during our conversation, you're absolutely welcome to add any final remarks. Yes, Marija, please do.
Well, I just want to bring that up. It wasn't brought up as such, but I think it's a big part of that. There was an occasion this year that I had to be away for almost a month. And I've got to tell you that, again, as a single parent, the school really has also been, I can rely on, I put my son in residence for a month because that was there. It was an opportunity for me to be able to do that. I don't know where another place where you could just say, like, I need to do this, something has come up and I need to be away. And I was only going to be away for 2 weeks, but because of the pandemic and so forth, I was able to leave him there, self-isolate when I came home for 2 weeks and not have to think one way or the other. And he absolutely, in fact, when he came home, it was kind of, can I go back to residence now? It's like, well, but he loved it. He just immersed himself also in the way that the activities and how beautifully that was set up, so that he just went in and definitely did not want to come out, not because he didn't want to come see his mom, but because he had such a great time. The staff were fantastic. They were so helpful to me. They set everything up. I just felt like I was free to breathe and to go do what I needed to do and to come home and to have the time and the space to be able to not worry about the pandemic and running about, and just be able to stop and be myself and take the time to regroup until he came home. So I wanted to say that the residence program, for someone who just did short term, and that it's available there where it is really, really an amazing thing for someone like myself.
Thank you. And I think just to sort of piggyback on that, we do say we're a small school and a family school, but in situations like that too, that happens all the time, where whether it be with our finance office and someone needs like a unique plan of how they're going to make it work, or our residence team, if we have kids coming from Kingston every day on the bus and all of a sudden discover they're passionate in a sport and their practices are going to go into the evenings, they're welcome to sign up to stay Monday nights and Wednesday nights in our residence program. And we are so small and so connected that I think everyone really does go above and beyond to accommodate our families, however they need, and the ebbs and flows of life. When you're here for a really long time, people's situations change during their time here. And I see that all the time with just special, not accommodations, but special considerations made for families in their unique situations. So thanks, Marija, for highlighting that, because I do see that every day. Sorry, Faith.
Yeah, I had one other thing that just reminded me about. I also started at Albert in grade 1. So I was there. I was call them lifers. I was there for a long time. So I got to experience going through the junior school, middle school, and then high school as well. And one thing that's also unique about Albert is that they help facilitate the transition between each of those stages. So when you're in grade 6 and you're still at the junior school, they start bringing you over to the senior school where you'd be having lunch when you're in middle school. So you get to see the building, you start to do activities, you stay for lunch and then do activities after and meet the middle school teachers and start to meet the people who are going to be in the grade above you. So you already know people in the building next to you. So the transition when you go there in the next year isn't super scary. You know your way around the building, you know the people already. And then going from middle school to high school, middle school has their like own wing that they're mostly in, but you're also starting to take classes in like the music room and some in like the art classroom. So you get to explore the building a little bit more, meet the teachers, you're participating in like different activities and joining clubs and stuff. So you're meeting people gradually, and then the transition to high school isn't as daunting. And then for university, our guidance counselor super kind and starts working with you. You do a careers class in grade 10, so you get to know them right then. And then you also get to meet with them and they help you take you through options. They host university guests that come in and talk to you about the university. So you get more of a hands-on guidance approach that way. So you're not just left figuring things out for yourself, which is what sometimes happens. So you get a lot of help to help make those transitions easier.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add to having children at the junior school, it's really exciting to see that they don't only interact with students at the junior school. I guess this was kind of pre-pandemic and will be post-pandemic because of all the different accommodations that have had to happen because of that. But students in kindergarten, I remember when my son came over to the senior school, the big school as he called it, on a field trip, and really it's just across the path and, and down the grass, but they had their costumes on and it was Halloween, and they came into the senior school and they got to have their morning snack in Ackerman Hall where the big kids eat. And it was just the most amazing thing for him. And it was such a simple thing really to just have your snack in a different location. But they had a little dance for them with some music, and they were all dressed up in their costumes, and their snack was like little ghost shaped pieces of cheese, and they got a little goodie bag at the end. And it was just such an amazing thing for him. And he told me all about it. And normally I don't hear too much about the details of what happened in a day, but that outing to the big school was such a big deal for him. And seeing them on campus at pickup time, and the big kids are coming out of the big school and the smaller kids are coming out of the junior school, and they're yelling at each other across the parking lot or the schoolyard. And I kind of look at them and say, how do you know that person? How do you know so and so? And oh, that's my reading buddy, or that's this person, or we met doing that, or they came over and taught us this in the gym or for soccer. So just that sense of community across the grades as well, and the schools, it really is one big community where the kids all really get to know each other. The international students too really add to the community and to the school, especially for the junior school students who are local students. It's really an amazing place to be.
I wanted to, if you wouldn't mind, just in terms of academics, because clearly people are choosing a school because they really want a sound academic for their children. And we were away in a European setting for for the time, notwithstanding online and a number of things. But one of the things that really struck me about the academics of Albert when he finished the middle school, grade 8, and we were away for grade 9 and 10, was he was in the school, and they said to me before he got in, because this is Canada, you're in a European setting, it's generally higher, the standard of what they're saying academics, because they're much more intense about certain things. And Dante was so prepared that he went in what they thought would be the middle of his grade 9 year. And he was actually at the top of the class when it came to technology. And the switch online, he was teaching some of the teachers about all of that, because he had already done that in Albert. And in the sciences, he ended the years, his year at the top of his class. I'm at the top, I'm at the top 5. And so to go into a situation where, you know, a country says, oh, we're sort of tops in high school programming in the world, and he went in there with an expectation that he was going to be struggling for a little bit, and he was nowhere struggling, so prepared, and they were a bit surprised, oddly enough, but I wasn't, because he had such a strong foundation. The middle school teachers they go above, they have advanced courses where you can take a reach ahead program, and he was well prepared for going into a completely different way of teaching even. And Albert's teaching, the way Albert teaches, is much more suited to his style, because there it's very lecture, very, you know, didn't have the variety and the ways that a child learns. Albert really was just diverse ways of teaching, and his learning and hands-on activities within, especially the sciences, and certainly all the other programs, the sciences being that his, you know, his bent, that he, as I said, he came home and felt, okay, I could now breathe easier, because this is much better for me, how I learn and what Albert provides in that academic setting that I think every parent wants their child to have the very highest standard. So I wanted to say that.
Thank you. Well, if everyone feels, that they've shared what they feel is most important, we're going to conclude our session for today. So I just want to thank our panelists so much for your thoughtful, genuine responses. It's clear that the school means a lot to all of you and your families, as it does to all of our families. So thank you for expressing that. And thank you to everyone watching, everyone who's interested in our wonderful little school. So we hope to see you on campus someday soon. And with that, I'm going to end our session. So thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it. Okay, bye now.